Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the top 10 global problems the world will face in 2025. We're strapping on our optimism scuba gear and diving headfirst into these issues. Burying our heads in the sand won't make these problems disappear. So, buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to confront the future head-on. We'll be dissecting each problem, analyzing its potential impact, and hopefully finding some glimmers of hope along the way. Stay tuned to find out what challenges lie ahead and how we can prepare for them. First up, the heavyweight champion of global crises, climate change. It's like that friend who keeps saying they're going to start going to the gym but keeps ordering pizza. We're talking more extreme weather events, folks. Hurricanes will now be ripping roofs off houses with the fury of 1,000 angry badgers. Droughts will be so severe that even cacti start looking a little parched. And let's not forget about rising sea levels, which is a terrifying threat to coastal cities everywhere. The good news is it's not too late to do something about it. We need to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and invest in renewable energy sources. Maybe, just maybe, convince everyone that wearing a sweater inside during winter isn't actually that bad. Next up, we're diving into the increasingly dry and dusty world of water scarcity. Water is essential for life, but we're running out of the good stuff. Overpopulation, pollution, and climate change are all putting a strain on our water resources. Experts predict that by 2025, 2/3 of the world's population could be living under water-stressed conditions. But don't despair just yet. There are things we can do to address water scarcity. We can invest in water-efficient technologies and reduce water waste in agriculture and industry. And maybe, just maybe, start taking shorter showers. Desperate times call for slightly less steamy measures. Remember when we thought we had this whole global pandemic thing under control? Good times. Now, we're facing a future where global health crises are about as common as reality TV shows. We're talking new and emerging infectious diseases and antibiotic resistance making a comeback. But the good news is we're not completely powerless. We can invest in public health infrastructure and strengthen global disease surveillance systems, and maybe, just maybe, convince people that vaccines are actually a good thing. Economic inequality. It's the gift that keeps on giving if you're a billionaire. For the rest of us, it's more like that fruitcake you get every year for Christmas. We're talking a world where the gap between the haves and the have-nots is wider than the Grand Canyon, but don't despair just yet. There are things we can do to address economic inequality. We can implement progressive tax policies and invest in education and job training programs. Welcome to the digital age, where everything is connected and one phishing email away from chaos. We're talking about cybersecurity threats, the boogeyman of the internet. Data breaches, ransomware attacks, and election interference are all on the rise. But fear not, dear viewers, because there are ways to navigate this digital minefield. We can invest in robust cybersecurity measures and educate ourselves about online threats and maybe, just maybe, convince everyone to stop using password 123E as their password. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to enter the geopolitical thunderdome. We're talking rising nationalism and political polarization. But before you start fashioning shoulder pads out of hubcaps, let's take a deep breath. We can promote dialogue and understanding between different cultures and ideologies, support institutions that uphold democratic values, and maybe, just maybe, convince everyone that we're all in this together. Beep boop, fellow humans. Prepare to be amazed and slightly terrified by AI and automation. As AI becomes more sophisticated, it's poised to shake up the job market. We're talking about the potential displacement of millions of workers. But before you start brushing up on your binary code, remember that the future isn't written yet. We can adapt by focusing on education and retraining programs. And maybe, just maybe, teach robots how to make a decent cup of coffee. Time to talk about food security, or rather the growing insecurity of it all. Climate change is throwing a wrench into agricultural production. Rising food prices and food shortages are becoming more common. But before you start digging through your recycling for potato peels to plant, remember there are solutions. We can invest in sustainable agriculture practices and reduce food waste. And maybe, just maybe, convince everyone that eating a more plant-based diet isn't just for hippies and health nuts. Get ready to hold your breath, folks, because we're about to dive into the topic of pollution. We're talking air pollution, plastic pollution, and soil contamination. It's enough to make you want to invest in a hazmat suit. But before you start building your underground bunker, remember there's still hope for our planet. We can reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and invest in renewable energy sources, promote sustainable consumption patterns, and maybe, just maybe, convince everyone that recycling isn't actually that hard. And last but not least, we arrive at the grand finale: population growth. It's the issue that makes every other issue on this list more complicated. But before you start building that spaceship to Mars, remember that a growing population also brings potential solutions. We can invest in family planning initiatives and empower women and girls through education. And maybe, just maybe, figure out a way to make living sustainably a way of life. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. So, there you have it, folks, the top 10 global problems that are coming in hot like a freshly microwaved burrito of existential dread. But before you spiral into a vortex of despair, remember this: the future isn't set in stone. We still have time to turn things around, but it's going to take a collective effort. We need to demand action from our leaders and make changes in our own lives. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Let's work together to tackle these global challenges.